Hi there, friends. About 10 to 12 years ago, I made a decision that completely changed my life. I stopped dating for good. I realized that I am my best self when I'm single. It was scary to admit that at first because we live in a culture that tells us that being single is sad and a sign of failure. But I'm here to tell you this. For me, choosing singleness or singlehood was the most freeing, life-giving decision I've ever made. It seems so simple now, but I grew up being taught that women were meant to be wives and mothers, and that a woman without a man was incomplete. Despite my intelligence and potential as a young girl, all my mother ever wanted for me was to be taken care of by a man. That's really funny to me now because from what I've seen, it's usually the other way around. But I digress. So I've always dated here and there, even a little after my last marriage. Always keeping the door cracked open just in case. I thought maybe the next relationship would finally be the one. Maybe I'd finally get the happy ending. And even if I didn't, I thought dating would be just fun. But it really wasn't. As I got older, it was way more trouble than it was worth. Truthfully, it was just one fiasco after another. I felt that each time I dated a new person, something else was taken from me, whether it was my mental energy, my emotional peace, my money, or just my time. Mostly, they were all just a big waste of my precious time. Then one day, I thought, what if I just stopped trying? I realized that by the time we reach our 40s, we all have a level of emotional baggage that we're dragging around. And those of us that are single at this age usually have a divorce or two under our belt. And we have exes to deal with and children to co-parent and all kinds of relationship trauma. It was a lot to deal with, and I decided that I wasn't going to do it anymore. I was just done with the bullshit. And you know what? I felt so relieved when I made that decision. I realized I didn't want to keep bending myself, compromising, explaining myself, fixing, or waiting. I didn't want to keep looking, and even if I did find one that stuck, I didn't want to lose any more years in relationships that drained me. And let's be honest, a lot of men that date in midlife are seeing you as a nurse or a purse, someone to take care of them or someone to bankroll them. Neither of those roles interested me. I wanted more for my life than that. So I made the decision. I was done. No more dating, no more looking. I'm off the market. And I marked that decision by actually getting rid of my king-size bed that I had had forever. I bought a full-size bed. I found a really cool mid-century walnut bed like the ones that my parents had when I was a kid. The headboard is a bookcase with sliding doors. It's just the right size for me, and it gave me so much more space in my bedroom. My house is totally mine. Every room reflects me. I decorate how I want. I cook how I want. I live how I want. I hold no space, physically or mentally, for a potential future partner. You know, there are real benefits to being single after 50. Freedom with time. You set your own schedule. No negotiating weekend plans. No splitting holidays. I do what I want when I want. And then there's the financial independence. I have full control over all my money decisions. There's no joint debt, no financial drama. There's no keeping secrets from each other. I've been the breadwinner in my family for a long, long time, and I can't imagine having to combine finances with anyone. And then there's also better health. Studies show that single women often live longer, healthier lives than women, especially those in stressful marriages. Chronic stress in a bad relationship is actually worse for your health than being alone. And there's personal growth. With no partner to manage or fix, you get to invest in yourself. New hobbies, travel, learning, even rest. I plan trips the way I want, and if I change my mind, that's okay too. I can do things like throw a bed in the back of a minivan and hit the road for a month with no itinerary. I can take off on a Saturday in the middle of the winter, drive to the beach just to eat some oysters, and have no one know where I went, and no one asking when I'm going to be home. I go to bed when I want, I get up when I want, and there's no dealing with anyone snoring. Then there's the peace. No more roller coasters of, is this working? Will he call? Should I stay or should I go? Just steady, peaceful days. Now, I'll be honest, there are challenges too. Social pressure. People assume that I'm lonely or waiting or still looking. Sometimes they don't know what to do with a woman that simply says, I'm good. Also, I usually make friends with other single people, but then most of them have gone on to become coupled again. Once that happens, I either become the third wheel or the friendship just kind of naturally fizzles out because they're doing couple stuff. There's less automatic companionship. You have to be more intentional about building community. That means reaching out to friends, connecting with family, or sometimes, a lot of times, enjoying my own company. Then there's the practical stuff. If something breaks in the house, there's no partner to share the load. I handle it or I hire it out. But here's the truth. The cons are inconveniences. The pros are life-changing. I have been single for the majority of my adult life when you look at the big picture. I've gotten used to handling everything on my own, and honestly, sometimes I'm perplexed when I hear a woman say that they don't know how to do simple things like hang mini blinds, fix a loose doorknob, or check their own oil. Now, I know that some of you watching you're not single and you're in relationships that feel empty. Maybe you've been together for decades. Maybe you share a house and finances and children or just history. And on paper it looks fine, but in your heart, you know you're alone. I want to say this gently but clearly. Being alone in a marriage is lonelier than being single. If you're giving everything you have and getting little in return, if you're silencing yourself to keep the peace, if you feel like a ghost in your own house, that's not love. That's just survival. I'm not telling you to pack your bags tonight, but I am telling you this. It's not too late to choose yourself. It's not too late to say, I want peace, I want joy, I want to feel alive again. I know breaking free is scary, but I also know the cost of staying stuck. And sometimes the bravest, most life-giving thing you can do is walk away from something that's not working anymore. This is the only life that you have, and the clock is ticking. So many women in midlife are exhausted by relationships that don't serve them. They feel like they have to keep dating because that's what society expects. They've listened to the voices saying, you don't want to die alone. But what they don't realize is that there's a good chance that you're going to end up being stuck taking care of a sick old man while your life passes you by in the youth of your golden years. I don't want to do that. And you don't have to do that either. You can choose to be single. You can choose peace. You can say, I'm enough, and this life that I'm building is enough. Being single doesn't mean being unloved. My life is full of love, from my kids, my friends, my sisters, and even from myself. And I have the quiet joy of sitting on my porch right before sunset. The difference is I'm not outsourcing my worth to whether someone chooses me or not. I choose me. I'm not against love. I'm just for living authentically. And for me, living authentically means being single, period. If this resonates with you, hit subscribe down below. I talk about midlife reinvention, freedom, and creating a life that you don't want to escape from. And in the comments, tell me, have you ever thought about choosing singleness on purpose? How would that make space in your life for other things that make you happy? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know what it's like to put yourself last. That's why I wrote Midlife Makeover. It's a practical reset for women who want more energy, better health, and a life that feels sustainable. No gimmicks, just real strategies that work. You'll find the link down below in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.